Welcome to Palestine House in Cambridge. The Cambridge Center for Palestine Studies is professionally pleased and morally delighted to be hosting this webinar about Palestine, and in particular, giving a podium to Palestinian Christians following the strikes on the Baptist hospital in the Gaza Strip and on the Palestinian Christian Orthodox Church in the Gaza Strip. We are pleased to be having with us several distinguished panelists from a wide variety of locations in Palestine, and we are in particular pleased to be having with us a distinguished figure, His Beatitude, Patriarch Michel Sabbah. So without further ado, if I may kindly on your behalf, welcome Patriarch Sabbah and give him the podium and screen. Please, Patriarch.
Thank you. You hear me?
Yes.
Oh, good evening or good morning to all. First, my word is a general introduction to this topic. I hope the others will give more details. Christian Palestinians, we live today in Palestine and in Israel. We are a small number, around 200,000. In Palestine, including Jerusalem and Gaza, we are only 50,000. Anyway, figures are not important. We are not numbers. I say always, I am not a number. I am not 1 or 100 or million. I am myself. I am Palestinian, therefore I am all the Palestinians. And I am Christian, and therefore I am all the Christians. So I am not a number, few or many. I am Palestinian and I am Christian. I am as big, as numerous as Palestinians are and as Christianity is. Few or many, we are Christians and successors of the first Christian community. We belong to that time of Jesus, to Jesus himself, and to all successive and different generations until we reach to our present generation. Our present generation is the generation of the tragedy for all Palestinians, for all Palestinian Christians as well. Now we live in war. It is the land of Jesus, the land of the redemption of the world, the land where the world comes as pilgrims to the sources of peace. They find their spiritual peace, but the land itself has lost its peace for all its inhabitants, for all of us Christians. This is a mystery of God. He made our land holy, source of peace, yet today it has no peace. It's a land of war. And Palestinian people, we have to deal with this mystery of God. Today, in these recent days, is the violent war, irrational vengeance, a total destruction of Gaza population. High buildings and humble houses are demolished. Crowds of refugees on the roads, third or fourth generation of refugees. The Anglican hospital in Gaza was shelled. The Greek Orthodox Church of St. Porphyrius the saint patron of Gaza, the compound of the church was shelled, decimating the already small Christian community in Gaza, 800 people around, which took refuge there. Is it the end of Christians in Gaza? We shall see when the mad vengeance will reach its end. Today, Christian Palestinians, we belong to our land, to our people. We are Palestinians and we are Christians. We are part of the tragedy in Gaza and in all of Palestine. We are aware that we have to live our faith with and for our people. In the Nakba year 1948, with the beginning of the tragedy, about half of the Christians left or were expelled as other Palestinians. In 1967, another part left. Then year after year, as many kept leaving the land because of its general instability, Christians also left. Rooted in our faith, we pray for ourselves, for all the actors of the tragedy, and for the enemy himself. We pray, may God give light and truth. May God give courage to accept the light and the truth and to act in the light and according to the truth. Today, we are before a repeated mad war in Gaza. It is not a war, it is a vengeance. It is the decimation and the transfer of 2 million people, Christians, Muslims, we are part of it. To the tragedy we belong. It is a mad war. It must stop. It will stop tomorrow. Then why not today? For what aim is this war? It is simply a fuel for another war and more violence. This mad, aimless war will stop. Then it will start again and again, because vengeance does not want to see the roots. Addressing the whole Palestinian question and finding the just peace is the only way for the war not to start again. Israel and the friends of Israel refuse the simple truth that the Palestinian people, Christians or Muslims, are humans, human beings, just as all the people of the earth. They refuse the simple truth that the Palestinian people has the simple, obvious right to live in his own land. When Israel will become able to open its eyes and see, as well as its friendly world powers, then peace will be there. Then Israel will live in security. Palestinians will live in security. And Christian Palestinians, we will continue our presence since the time of Jesus until today. I hope Israel will open its eyes and see its own good. Peace with the Palestinians, not with neighbor countries. Peace starts with the people of the land. Peace with the Palestinians is the only guarantee for the peace and security of Israel. And the Christians, we are part of the whole tragedy, and we will be part of the whole peace. I hope truth and humanity will come back to our land, and we will know what real peace is. And Christians, we will remain the continuity of the first Christian community in Jerusalem and in all Palestine. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Beatitude, for this moving presentation. Please remain with us. And if I could kindly now move to our next speaker, Father Dr. Fadi Diab, who will be addressing us from Jerusalem. The mic and screen are yours, Father Fadi.
Thank you very much. Many thanks for the organizers of this webinar. And I think it's a timely presentation to let people in many parts of the world understand what is going on. I would like to go on from where his Beatitude finished, that focusing on the Christian church in Palestine and understanding the grave challenges they have and they had in the past. We need to recognize that what is going on today is another Nakba for the Palestinian church as well as for the Palestinian people. What happened the day before yesterday in Gaza had left no chance for a Christian community to continue live and exist in the Gaza Strip. Which is true for the last 75 years. Palestinian Christians have been pushed through many different forces and by many different reasons to leave their homeland and flee to some other places. And that is very, very dangerous, and it hurts the very message of the Christian presence in the Holy Land. We need to remind ourselves that the Christian community in the Holy Land represents the indigenous community that carried the good news from the time of the Pentecost until now. The Holy Land is not a museum of churches and sites, religious sites, where pilgrims come and visit. The Holy Land is a living witness to the love of God in Jesus Christ. So what is happening in the Holy Land in Israel, Palestine, is like hitting the very heart of the Christian existence, and this is not like new, because this has been the agenda of the recent Israeli governments, and we have seen this in the last year with several attacks on Christian churches, on leaders. And that is very, very, very devastating to the very presence of the community. So the recent war in Israel and Gaza, it's also a war on the Christian community. We need to be very clear about that. As long as this conflict continues, as long as the Christian community opt to leave. we cannot force people or convince people to remain in the Holy Land while there is ongoing conflict, while there is a war, while they're being targeted in their own sanctuaries, the places that they felt safe for them, while they're being, imprisoned or restricted from moving around. So as long as this conflict continues, as long as the Palestinian Christians continue to leave this very land, I think what I have sensed and witnessed in the last 13, 14 days during this war is there is a huge frustration among the Christian community. Frustration not only from the war, frustration not only from the massive damage and targeting of civilians, but also frustration from the international community. Frustration from the human rights organizations around the world, from the very conception of democracy that the Western world preaches for all of the world. We are very much, I've seen much frustration in the eyes and hearts and words of many Christians in the last 14 days. We lost trust in the international community. We lost trust of the leaders of what is called the powerful leaders in the world, or the leaders of the powerful countries in the world. And I think it is very important to note that we cannot relegate Palestinians to the state of nothingness. These people have a cause, and the cause is very virtuous. They need to live as the rest of the world, and they have the right to advocate for their cause and to advocate for their freedom and independence and self-determination. So yes, this is a heinous war against civilians in Gaza. Our Anglican hospital in Gaza was hit twice. The first time damaging the ultrasound section. It's actually a section that's been recently started to help the people in Gaza. And the second time, killing more than 400 people and causing huge damage to the facilities. The attack on the church, the Orthodox Church, and killing 18 Christians in Gaza is also, I mean, we need just to remember that there are only about 800 to 1,000 Christians in Gaza. And they have been living in Gaza enduring the siege, the restrictions, and they're now being targeted for their lives. So this all is causing a lot of frustration among the Palestinian community, a lot of frustration among the Christian community, from the very foundation of human democracy and human rights, and all the lies that we've been hearing for the last 14 days, just reversing the truth and telling lies, and reversing the lies as becoming truth. This cannot go on for a long time. I think the world needs to pay more attention to political agendas and ideological agendas, and pay more attention to the voices on the ground, to the voices of the victim, those who suffer on the ground. Thank you very much. I think I'll stop here. If there are any questions from the audience later, I'll be happy to answer them.
Thank you very much. Please stay with us. And now, if I may please, could I kindly move to Madame Hania Bullata, who is a Palestinian Christian Jerusalemite, who could possibly just give us a little bit of reflection and perhaps a taste of how does it feel to be a Palestinian Christian Jerusalemite in occupied Jerusalem. Please, Madam Hania, the screen and mic are yours.
Mr.
Please.
Yes, sir. Are you talking to me or to Hania?
Yeah. No. To Hania. Hania, Madam
Okay.
Hani Bullata.
No.
Yes, please.
Yes. My name is Hania Qassissieh, Persekian, and I'm Palestinian Christian living in Jerusalem, and I born in Jerusalem. My family, they are refugees during the 48, and so all our life we have been living in Jerusalem. The life in Jerusalem is much of oppression and depression when it comes to the occupation. Our daily life, it's not easy. The youth, they don't have a freedom of moving from one place to another. The daily life for the Palestinians in general, we are having a lot of difficulties with coping with the occupation. I would like to mention specifically during our holidays, as a Christian living in the Holy Land, we don't have the access of freedom to enter or to celebrate our feast, mainly during Easter time on the Holy Fire. That always they close the gates. They insist to give us a special gate that we have to enter, and then there is a specific amount of number of people to enter the Holy Sepulchre, it's becoming creating a lot of tension and frustration from the Christians in the Holy Land. And one of the reasons that most of the Christians in the West Bank and even in Israel, the Palestinian living in Israel, they don't have they start to think twice to come to celebrate the Easter in the Holy Land. I mean, our daily life, it's difficult that youth, they cannot go out during the evening to have any activities. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Could you just tell us, please, if you have any relatives in the Gaza Strip now?
Yes, of course, we have relatives and friends. They are, I mean, especially the people who was in the church and they were, they died. And there is tomorrow in Jerusalem, in our church, Mar Elias Church, there will be a service for the people that passed away on this attack.
Some people may ask what is actually the relationship between the Palestinian Christians in Gaza and the West Bank or East Jerusalem or Palestine or Western Palestine, which was occupied in 48. If you could just explain, is it through marriage or is it just family split?
Yes, I mean, we as a Christians, we are, as a people, we are very much united. And there is a mixed marriage between the people in the 48 areas and in the West Bank also. But nowadays, with the people in the West Bank, with the new government, it's becoming the mixed marriage a little bit difficult, because if she or he wanted to get married to a Palestinian from Jerusalem, they will find difficulties to bring them to Jerusalem. So, and of course, the people who is living in Jerusalem, they don't wanted to lose their medical, their rights. Yes, their rights when it comes to medical insurance and the national insurance. And this is not, this is not like a favor that Israel is doing us. This is all, it's money taken from us, and they are putting it in the safe of the government. And this is for our full rights to get this kind of services, which is sometimes we don't get it. For that, for the youth to have a mixed marriage between the people in Jerusalem or who is living inside the 48 areas, very difficult to bring them to, to have them got married with the people in the West Bank. So now the youth are thinking about it twice. Because it's not easy when it comes to this issue. Yes.
See, so practically, so that the audience and viewers understand, because Palestinians say in the Gaza Strip, in the besieged Gaza Strip, cannot move, so it's very difficult for them to be granted the proper documents, yeah?
Yes, it's impossible to have, after the Oslo Agreement, to have a mixed marriage with the people from Gaza, because the people in Gaza, they are in Gaza, they cannot come to Jerusalem, or even, it's not allowed for them. And to have a relation or mixed marriage with the people from Gaza, it's impossible nowadays.
Yeah. So
the only thing it's possible for the workers to be inside the West Bank, and maybe in Israel, if they will have a permission from the Israeli authorities. And this is very, it's not always
so that as well the viewers, especially the non-Palestinian or non-Arab viewers, understand, you are talking about both Palestinian Christians in the Gaza Strip and Palestinian Christians, say, in the West Bank and Jerusalem. They cannot get married because of this imposition of the occupation on them, which does not allow them to be granted the appropriate documents, right?
Yes. And they are, yes.
I see.
They are, in Gaza, yeah, and
Okay.
they are locked.
Okay, many thanks. Please stay with us. And if I could kindly now move to our next speaker, Mr. Hani Bullata, if I may. Mr. Hani, you are, let's put it this way, I wouldn't want to define your activities, but you are a leading social figure, and you are the head of the Palestinian Christian Orthodox Club in Jerusalem or the West Bank. It would be great to hear from you, please, about the current situation and about the background of the type of life you are conducting under occupation.
Thank you. Thank you, Father. First of all, I'm the president for, or the chairman of the Arab Orthodox Union Club of Jerusalem, and the "of" is very important. That was created in 1942. The club itself is a refugee, by the way, that moved from the West Jerusalem to East Jerusalem. Anyways, the current situation, and I would like to thank his Beatitude for his words, Father Fadi as well for his words, because actually we started not to believe anybody anymore. The huge lies that is going on through the media, and we're seeing differently on the ground. The kind of threats we're receiving from the settlers on a daily basis. I'm talking about Jerusalem. I'm living at 2 streets from a colony just next to me. And please use colony from now on. It's not a settlement, it's a colony. It's using the resources of the land and keeping nothing for the indigenous people, as you say. What else? I would like to say as well, the intimidation that Israel is exercising right now on the whole community of Jerusalem and Israel, because let's say in the West Bank they have a bit more freedom. Even we cannot put a like on Facebook or to express our shouts or cries on Facebook, because they will consider it as, how do they call it, incitation, or
to be inciting or to incite.
inciting, sorry.
Maybe Mr. Hani, if I may, at this very important point, I'd like to first remind all viewers now and later who will be watching this video that all our speakers are talking and addressing us from occupied Palestine in general, from various places. And it's very important to stress out that there are now sort of regulations imposed by the occupation, whereby if anybody speaks his mind freely, he might be arrested. So this is a very important point to mention. So if our viewers hear or notice that our speakers are picking their words, this is mainly the reason. Please go ahead, Mr. Hani.
Thank you. Mainly, these are the club that we have has around, let's say, 200 youth, and we're really afraid about them. So we closed since it started practically. And the main issue is that what we're seeing, the huge lies that we're seeing, and we're not being able to object them. I don't know how. And thanks God that we have somebody like his Beatitude, so we can keep our faith. As Father Fadi mentioned, we are the Christians of the Holy Land of Palestine. And if you just want to come and see museums, we're on the way. It's the time to act and to react on the big lies that is going on. The inhumanity that is being exercised on the Palestinian people, especially in Gaza currently, it is incredible. Using what is so-called the international community resources even for that. I was a big believer of the international human rights, international law. I don't think I believe in them anymore. But we will keep up our faith, because this is the only hope that we have. What I wanted to say as well.
Mr. Hani, may I just ask you, please, the 200 members, club members that you have got, are they all Jerusalemites, or are they from the West Bank, such as Ramallah or Bethlehem?
Jerusalemites, all of them are Jerusalemites and under 18. The 200 are only the under 18. We have youth from 6 to 24 practically. We have a Scouts group who is part of our traditions and part who perform the celebrations during Christmas, Easter, especially Easter, because it is the Jerusalem, a feast for Jerusalem, because all the events happened in Jerusalem. And actually, it's the essence of Christianity, Jerusalem, because it is the resurrection itself. We inherited the organization for this. Mrs. Hania have discussed about this issue. Since 2005, we are very, before 2005, we used to go in our best clothes. Since 2005, to go to the Easter celebrations, we put on the jeans and the baskets, because we need to have a fight with the soldiers and what is so-called police.
Sorry,
all this, yes.
Just to explain to, I am sure this video, once released, will be watched by many and for a long time, and it will be quite an important document because it will be including, and now it's including a witness statement. Could you just tell us, you said to fight the soldiers, what do you mean and why? And if you could just explain a little bit.
Why? Since 2005, they started to put checkpoints on the day of Easter, on the day of the Holy Light, Holy Fire, and to reach the Holy Sepulchre from the New Gate, you have around 5 checkpoints, and every checkpoint is a step by itself, where you have they keep the people crowding, and they allow sometimes, or they don't allow, they close, they open, and all the traditional celebrations that we used to do, as there is a status quo regarding the festivities, we are not being able to do it. As Hania mentioned, so many of our community who are living in Ramallah or Bethlehem cannot come anymore to celebrate Easter in Jerusalem, because it's becoming it's not anymore a feast. It's less and less as a fight, practically. When I see, even not only for Jerusalem, for Ramallah and Bethlehem, when I see pilgrims that are coming from outside, who maybe spend all their life economy for this visit during the pilgrimage, to the Holy Sepulchre on that day, and they are forbidding them to come. They just put them big screen and they insult them on the checkpoints. We see that it's all this pilgrimage period as well, people are coming less and less. We have around those who celebrate Easter currently in Jerusalem. I don't think there are more than 3 or 5, between 3,000 to 5,000, and we get always around 2,000 to 2,500 soldiers or policemen or whatever they call them. So imagine, it's around 1-to-1 practically. But the main issue currently is that is frustrating us mainly with the current situation, with the current bombardment on Gaza, is that they are dehumanizing us as Palestinians, as if we are cruels or anything. We are more human than anybody else in the world because we are keeping our humanity, and they are many people in the West, or in the what they call Oriental, Occidental world, they just think that they are just buying in the big lies that we see on the media. And in time of war, don't believe the media anyways. You have to check all the medias all around. And we're seeing things with the current technology. We're seeing videos that is telling a separate story, another story. It's not the same story that you have. And I don't know. And we are Palestinian Christians. Palestinian first, second Christians. It's important to put this in order.
Right. You said, Mr. Hani, that of the 200 club members at the moment, nobody can come to the club because since the beginning of the war, 2 weeks ago, you closed the club for the moment. Am I right?
Yes, it is closed.
Yeah. Could you tell me why? Is it as a solidarity act, or is it because you are not allowed to go, or is it because you are afraid to go?
It's a decision that we took as our 200 youth are, let's say, youngsters. So just because of the, how to say it?
The atmosphere?
The atmosphere. We're in Beit Hanina, the northern side of Jerusalem, and there is a colony just nearby, and until the bombardment of the Baptist hospital in Gaza, we used to have on a daily basis some attacks from the settlers, actually. So just to protect our children, just to reduce any, let's say, we work, our club opens until 10, 11 o'clock in the evening. So just to reduce such activities, to protect our children, we just closed this center in order for them just to stay home with their parents, at least.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Hani Bullata. We shall come back to you. Please stay with us. And we are pleased to be moving to our next speaker, Mr. Rafi Ghattas, who perhaps, because he is one of the younger generations, perhaps he could shed light on some pressing issues that we ought to hear. Rafi, thanks for being with us. The mic and screen are yours. Please go ahead.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for this invitation, and thank you for this, thank you for giving us your time to be here, to hear our story, to hear from us directly, and to listen to what we are suffering from. As all like our beloved people here said, that we are living in a certain time that it's very difficult. It's like for us, maybe it's the first time we live it as it is right now. Our land has been under this pressure for more than 75 years, but today we are suffering the real face of what's called the only democracy state in the Middle East, which is Israel. We are facing the real face that all the world don't want to see it. We are facing the real face of the real government, real Israeli government, all. I always say, if I don't have the option to vote, to go and to participate in the elections in Israel. Although I have the Israeli ID, I don't have the Israeli passport, because people in Jerusalem, many people in Jerusalem, the Palestinians, are not they don't have the citizenship of Israel. They are like staying, between brackets, staying in Israel for a temporary time, and every time they should have another visa to stay, and etc. So but if I had the chance to vote for a government in Israel, then I will choose the same government that it's now in the government, who has some people like Itamar Ben-Gvir, like Smotrich, like the most right wings in all the government. They are racist, they are apartheid, and they want this state to be only for Jews, and only for Jews who wants Israel to be for Jews only. Like either the Jews that are from the left wings, they don't want them to be inside the state. So we are living with this government, and this government made us enter inside this big war. When we talk about the 7th of October, when we talk about what Hamas did and what happened in Gaza, and when we go through the news that is happening now in Gaza, we can see that it's not only for that day. It's not because of the October 7. We're talking about 75 years of oppression, 75 years of occupation, 75 years of apartheid. We're talking about 75 years of people being killed, of Palestinians being killed, without anyone from the Western media and the Western world will stand for us or will say the right words with us. They always stand with Israel. They always defend with Israel, and now they always say that like Israel has the right to defend itself, even if it does some massacres or genocide in Gaza. So what's happening now in Gaza and what's happening now for us as Palestinians who are living in Jerusalem and inside the Green Line, which is called Israel, it's very new, and I think in the coming days it will be more dangerous for us. For me, as Rafi, I work as a reporter now. I am a journalist. I work as a reporter in the field. Every time I'm standing in the fields in Jerusalem, on the Gaza border, on the northern border with Lebanon, in Tel Aviv, any place I stand, I start to talk Arabic. The police, the soldiers, the settlers will come to me, and they were shouting at us as a journalist and telling us what to say. They are shouting at us in Hebrew and in English and telling us, you must say that Hamas is terrorist. You must condemn Hamas. You must say that Israel is good, and etc. So this certain issue and this situation that we are living in, the only, as it says, and as the word recognize Israel as the only democracy state in the Middle East, now come and see. Come and look to that democracy state. Come and look to that democracy way to deal with the people, to deal with the other side of the story. Now we cannot say anything, we cannot like, we cannot share. Everyone is they are treating us to be arrested, to be like a house present, to be like to kill us, maybe to arrest us, to hate us. Everything is going to be so far about the democracy or about our lives. It's very dangerous to talk, to share the truth, and to speak whatever you think or whatever you want, even if you are an Israeli. Like there, I know some Israeli journalists that now are speaking the truth, that now they are screaming at the screens and saying that, wait a moment, there's a genocide, we're doing it in Gaza, so we should like think humanity. And they are being shot and they are being arrested, even Israeli journalists. So that's the only democracy state in the Middle East. That's what's doing now. And if I want to move on to another like topic, as a young people and a young youth, Christian youth in Jerusalem, first of all, I used to be the General Secretary for the Christian Youth in Palestine, which the name is the Youth of Jesus' Homeland. And now I am the coordinator for the Christian youth in the Middle East. And as a Christian youth in Jerusalem, we think and we are afraid, we don't want to be, but we are afraid that we are living the last Christian generation in the Holy Land. If we want to read some statements, if we want to see some numbers, if we want to see some facts, if I want to go back before 1948 and see now the numbers on the ground, and as our Beatitude said that we're not numbers, we are people, but as numbers we are afraid to be the last Christian generation inside the Holy Land, and that's a fact. We're not saying anything drama. It's not a drama. It's not a movie. It's a fact. Now, in all the Holy Land, in all the historical Palestine, in the West Bank, in Jerusalem, Gaza, Israel, We are less than 200,000 Christians that are living inside the Holy Land. And if we want to go forward to another 50 years, I think the 200 will become less than 50,000. So and then we are facing, and we are afraid to become the last Christian generation of the Holy Land. And why is that? Because Israel doesn't want Christians to be here. Israel wants the Christians to come here as pilgrims, to come to visit, to pray, and to go back to their countries and praising Israel and saying that, oh, Israel is controlling, or is taking care of our holy places, of our holy churches, and etc. That's the idea of Israel. That's what Israel wants to be. Israel wants this conflict to be, or this war to be, a conflict between Jews and Muslims. They don't want to share that there's Christians that are living in Palestine. They want only the conflict between Jews and Muslims. Then the Western media, the Western people, the people from Europe, from USA, etc., they will, because of the Islamic phobia they have in their countries, they will absolutely stand with Israel. They will not care about what's happening in Palestine. They will not care about any evidence people that are like being killed or anything like that. And when Israel 2 days ago, when Israel bombed the Orthodox Church in Gaza, people on social media were saying, "Oh, there is Christian in Gaza. Are these hostage? Like, are the people of Gaza, the Christians of Gaza, are they the same hostage that Hamas took them on October 7? They were asking why the Christians still there. They should leave. They should go. That's a war between Muslims and Jews. Why the Christians are there? They cannot know, or they don't know really, because of the real picture that Israel is doing as a propaganda, that this land is empty of the Christians. No Christians remains in this land. We are talking about the Holy Land. We are talking about the land that God chose it to become the land that He will be in it, that His birth, His crucifixion, like all His life will be from this land. So we're not talking about any land that there's a, like, let me say, minority of Christians and maybe and no, we're talking about the land that the Christianity started from. So if now the Western world and the Western media that do not recognize that issue and do not say that, let's wait a moment and let's think again, who are the real people who are living in this land? Are they only Muslims? Are they only Jews? Or if there's Christians in the story? When we talk about Christians, and here, like, to be noticed, I'm not doing like I'm not trying to doing an non-equal life between Christians and Muslims. No, at all. We are all Palestinian, and as Mr. Hani said, we are first of all Palestinian and then Christians when we talk about political issues. So we are sharing with our brothers, our Palestinian brothers, this important issue, that we are here living as Palestinians, Muslims, Christians together, and even some Jews that are living here and says that we are a Palestinian Jews who were here before the establishing of the state of Israel. So like, to conclude, the situation here is going far, extreme far, a dangerous situation. I think if Israel really won this war with Gaza, and if like end with Gaza as a genocide, and if all the plans of like Israeli plans now in the political kitchen are will go directly to the field, and if they end the story of Gaza, then they will come to us in Jerusalem, in West Bank, and inside the Green Line to end the story of all the non-Jews, of all the people who are, sorry, not non-Jews, of all the non-Zionists, of all the people who are not supporting or not dealing with Israel as a Zionists. Then they will end us. They will do for us what's happening in Gaza now. They will do for us what they failed to do in 1948. If they had the chance in 1948 during the Nakba to kick us, all of us, all the Palestinians out of the country and take the land without people, now they will do it. And it's not something like, again, it's not a drama, it's real. Now the people, the settlers, even like some people we were studying with them in the universities or in schools or college, or even work with them and have Zionist thoughts. Now they are saying, after Gaza we will come to you. After Gaza we will go to West Bank. We will go to Jerusalem, and even we will go to the Arab village inside Israel. So that's a dangerous situation here. Although we are living for years under apartheid regime, but now it's not apartheid anymore, it's genocide. So I think it's the time that the world will open their eyes and open their ears to hear the real story, what's happening here in the holiest land in the world, and to listen to us. Israel is not only controlling our life. It's like, for me as a young youth, if I don't want to speak anything about political, Israel is controlling my heart. It is controlling my love. It's controlling the way that I should love, who I can love. Can I love a girl and get married to a girl from West Bank or from Gaza or from the war, the north? Am I ready to face all the all the I don't know how to say it, the papers and the protocols, and to live under like to live in a place that is not very good, a good quality, because I have an Israeli ID and I want to marry to a girl who has the Palestinian ID. Can we get married? Can we have children? Can we put them in good schools? Can we travel together from here? Can we go to have Christmas Eve with my family or their family together? Can we, like, if I want to make it very small, to personalize the story, even to my heart, Israel is controlling it and is dealing with it as an apartheid. So that's why it's the time for everyone to know the real face of what's called Israel, and to speak loudly and to share the truth, especially if he's Christian. As Jesus said, we should be witnessing the righteousness, and now it's time for us to witness the righteousness. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rafi, for a very authentic and genuine intervention. I'm sure many will hear this and will learn quite a bit. Could I kindly move to another young lady, to Hind, who will be as well talking to us from Jerusalem, from occupied Jerusalem. Hind, I know that you have got internet issues, but it would be great if you could kindly turn on the camera so that we can as well hear and see you, please. So the mic and screen are yours. We are delighted that you are with us today. Please go ahead, Hind.
Thank you a lot. Sorry, I might switch off the camera after some time because the internet connection here is very poor. First of all, I would like to comment on the name of what is said worldwide in the mainstream media. You know, the mainstream media has been broadcasting that it is an Israeli-Hamas war. Well, it's not. war, the term war is not suitable here. It's not applicable at all. War means like we have two equivalent armies, and that's not the case here. It's an Israeli aggression on Palestinian people with all its components, Muslims and Christians as well. So it's not like a war on Hamas. So Gaza is the main target now that is being bombed directly, but Israeli army accompanied with settlers also have been raiding and killing Palestinian people, including children in the West Bank, each and every day. So every place here in Palestine and historic Palestine is on fire as well. Jerusalem, Palestinians also living in 1948. I would like to talk to you about the media as a writer, as a journalist. So CNN, BBC, Fox News, Reuters, and lots of media outlets have created an icon for media coverage under the title Israel-Hamas war. That's not right at all. It's an aggression, as I said, towards the whole Palestinians, wherever they live, West Bank, Jerusalem, Palestinians in 1948, refugees, even Palestinians in the diaspora are suffering now, assaulted. We hear a lot about assaults on an international level. So Gaza has been under direct Israeli bombardment, yes, for 2 weeks now, with the help of the military support from USA, Britain, France, even Greece. So all these are complicit in the killing of Palestinians. As Father Fadi said, the world has failed us. All the beliefs and principles the world preached, apparently we found it's a myth. The world decided not to see us. So they decided not to see the root cause of this whole problem, which is the Israeli occupation. So I think they see everything, but they chose not to see and stand with us. Gaza is not only Hamas. There are lots of civilians that are not affiliated with any political party. So we have other parties, secular ones. We have leftists. We have Christians, live hand in hand with Muslims by nature. So as Christians, I don't know if you hear me well because the connection keeps going and coming back.
No, so we are fine. We hear you clearly.
Yeah. Okay. So Christians are not spared by the brutality exercised on them by Israelis for decades. So Palestinians, Muslims, and Christians live surrounded by illegal settlements and by the illegal annexation wall. We live as one nation, you know. We are one nation. We are proud of our social fabric together. Unfortunately, Christians have become a minority in Palestine, but we are the indigenous people, you know. There are lots of Christians in our national movement, Palestinian movement. We have Christians in prison, in Israeli prisons. You know, we have Christian martyrs as well. So Israel, Christians, you know, have been subjected to Israeli violations and assaults. Israel is also practicing ethnic cleansing on us as Palestinians, Palestinian Christians. You know, my husband is the director of Bassim Center for Research and Development. It's one of the Palestinian NGOs that were one of the 6 Palestinian NGOs that were targeted and designated as terrorists. You know, also my husband has been arrested 3 times. He has put in Israeli jail for almost more than 5 years. And I hold the Jerusalemite idea while he holds the West Banker idea. And we have been facing lots of challenges in terms of papers and registering our children in my ID. That's why we live in Kufr Aqab. That is considered until now a Jerusalemite area. So back, Christians are facing lots of challenges. We have seen spitting on Christians in the Holy City of Jerusalem. You know, settler, who lots of Western media referred to as an American tourist, not a settler, vandalized the statue of Jesus in the old city of Jerusalem as well, a couple of months ago. The burning of Gethsemane church, raiding of Mar Elias, Saint Elias in Haifa. And at last, we have seen the bombing of Porphyrios church in Gaza, which is the one of the oldest churches worldwide. So a brief of what is going on in Gaza. There's a massacre, a genocide. Gazans, and they are all targeted the same, you know. Every house, every residential building is a target, hospitals, holy places, everything. No safe place in Gaza. There's no electricity by now, no fuel, no water. Eventually, hospitals are running out of equipment and will soon shut down, including children's incubators and operation rooms. Until yesterday, you know, 7 hospitals and 21 health centers were out of service as a result of Israeli targeting and hospitals, and they were running out of fuel. 46 medical personnel were martyred, 85 were injured, 23 ambulances were destroyed, out of service. So targeting hospitals is not new to Israel, you know. Even 20 mosques and 2 churches were destroyed. 16 journalists were killed, while 26 were arrested in the West Bank. You know, my friends whom I studied with. Some of them are arrested by now. So all the community in Gaza is being targeted. Muslims, Christians, women, children, every life is targeted. It shows that Israelis are thirsty for blood. And the Western media seems like they took a decision not to support us and to dehumanize us from now on, using zoological terminologies, you know, as Franz Fanon said. So Israeli officials now, they refer to us as human animals, and they vilify us in front of the media, and the media is helping them, you know, the Zionist propaganda. We have seen also children. Wadir al-Fayoumi, he's a 6-year-old child in Illinois, US, America. He was murdered by the landlord of their house because of the Israeli propaganda, because what was said through the media. So who is in charge? No one is held accountable for this. I'm sure you have heard that they have been comparing Hamas to ISIS. CNN is also complicit in spreading rumors without any confirmation. The White House is complicit as well, which is supposedly they have to be credible, but not anymore. They talked about Hamas beheading children. That's true. That's what Sarah Syed, the CNN reporter, said. And then she wanted to sound professional after that. So she apologized in a tweet, as if the tweet retracts all the damage of portraying the events. Does not, saying, sorry, I was misled. So everyone was complicit in this. BBC also apologized to its viewers, saying that pro-Palestine demonstrators were backing Hamas. And no, people were in the streets not for backing any movement. They were with the Palestinian people. They were against the massacres, including Jews, anti-Zionist Jews, who were with us in the streets. So saying no to genocide that is happening in front of the world. And then after that, the BBC apologized, saying it was poorly phrased. France, Germany, we have seen a lot that they criminalized the solidarity movement, any solidarity movement with the Palestinians, and they were hitting people in the streets, you know, assaulting them. As Rafi said, people, Jerusalemites and people, Palestinians living in the lands of 1948, they are afraid now because they are kicked out of their jobs right now. They are being arrested, subject to arrest. We are not allowed to even speak about it. So this is the democracy of Israel, you know. So back to the bombing of Al-Madani hospital, it's obvious to us that Israeli airstrike hit it. Lots of Israeli spokespersons admitted it at first in tweets, even in their Israeli media, and they have shot the hospitals with missiles 2 days prior to the bombing. It was like a warning. So hospitals received warning to evacuate, but where to go? It's an open air prison, and the borders are closed, and we don't want to go outside. We don't want another Nakba to happen, another catastrophe to happen to us. So again, no safe place in Gaza. After they saw the world's reaction, they withdrew from the whole scene. So people holding, you know, what we saw was horrific. You know, children. You know, it's very emotional for me because we saw people and fathers holding their children arms and body parts in plastic bags. It was shocking for us, you know, as a mother of 3 children. They lied, as they do Shraydeh-Al-Aboudi. They started blaming jihadi rockets for that. So unfortunately, misleading Zionist propaganda, they left us, all the media, they were like following. And we were kept busy defending ourselves instead of conveying what is really happening to the world. So we've seen this. It happened with Shireen. And Israel and other countries, they don't want to hold Israel into account at all. They prefer to punish us collectively. And we have to defend ourselves and to show the world that we are humans at the first place. So I'm not a military expert here, but Israel is killing people. It's bombing kids and residential areas. So yesterday I was like following the news, and I was hit by Al-Haq, a Palestinian NGO. It has done, it has published with what is called forensic architecture. They published an investigative report that casts significant doubts of Israeli occupation forces' claims that the source of the deadly explosion was Palestinian-fired rockets. You know, so we are like busy now defending ourselves instead of telling the world what is happening on us. The question is why we have to prove to the world that we are the good ones resisting the occupation. And even I want to deliver this message also to the Evangelical Church in Britain. So also the Evangelical Church has to stand against the bombing, since the hospital is run by Baptist Church, which is located in Britain. You know, the church, the Archbishop, has to take a courageous step forward to pressure the British government to stop its military support to Israel. You know, for me, it's not only Israel that bombed the hospital that day. It's like Britain, Biden, US, Britain, through its support, it's also complicit and contributed in the bombing of its own hospital and church in it, you know? For me, the church has to do a lot more now. It has to take a step forward and to pressure Britain to not support Israel anymore, because people are killed, civilians are killed. I don't know what else to talk to you, but you know, yesterday I was talking to a friend in Gaza. She was not with the rest in the church, but she told me, but all her relatives were there. So she told me that, imagine Hind, you know, my eldest son, Salim, he's 15 years old. He was born in 2008, and he's like now 15 years old. He's an adolescent who lived 8 wars, and he's miraculously he survived 8 wars. Not to mention the suffer yani, from the lack of health service, no electricity, no fuel, no water, no medical supplies, you know. And her child, Salim, he has dreams as well. And she told me, I'm raising him to be an attractive person in society, you know. So what kind of person does the war bring out? if you endure all this pain? A 15-year-old child, he endured 8 wars. I don't know what happened to humanity, but this is the case here in Palestine.
Thank you, Hind, for another yet very genuine and moving statement or witness account. Please stay with us. Could I kindly move now to our next speaker, Dr. Bassim Sobhi Khoury, who is an entrepreneur, but as well as a former Minister of Economy, former Palestinian Minister of Economy, who is also a Jerusalemite, to kindly give us an account from his point of view, his experience, and from where he is now. Please, Bassim, we are very much pleased that you are with us. The screen and mic are yours.
Well, good evening for everyone. The events of the past 2 weeks are extremely moving to me and to all those around us for a variety of reasons. I mentioned that I was a Minister of National Economy. I'm proud of the fact that I resigned my post in protest about our mishandling of a report that had to do with the first war. Hind referred to the several wars on Gaza. First war on Gaza in 2008, 2009 was a war that I was very active in trying to bring relief to the people of Gaza. And our mishandling of the Goldstone report was the reason why I resigned from my post as Minister of National Economy. So the whole issue of Gaza and the whole issue of war crimes is something that is very close to my heart and something that I'm very proud of. I think this is major because first and foremost, I'm a Christian, and we as Christians should never, under all circumstances, lose our humanity and lose our quest for justice. This is why I believe what happened and what's happening now is that those who are being killed twice. Once by the rockets, and the second time by the world ignoring the atrocities. It's important to mention that whole families in the church bombing, a family was wiped off the population registry. There's no more, not a single member of that family that holds that name anymore. This is really, really, really outrageous, and I don't think there are words to describe it. As somebody who keeps tab of international events, I was keeping tab of the UN Security Council debates. There were 2 resolutions tabled in the UN Security Council, one by Russia, which did not condemn Hamas. As a result, it only got 5 yes, 6 abstentions, and 4 people voted against. And then the Brazilians came up with a resolution which actually condemned Hamas. The wording of the resolution is in line with what the Americans were saying they wanted to see in a resolution, and that's why they vetoed the first one. Because now, even with the condemnation of Hamas, the United States came and vetoed the resolution, which basically called for a cessation of fire, for a ceasefire, which to stop the war and allow for humanitarian relief to come in. I was listening to the words of the US ambassador when she was trying to explain to the world why she voted against, why she vetoed. And to be very honest, even she could not find words that could explain the position of the United States. I communicated ever since the atrocity Thursday night and yesterday. I communicated with 9 diplomats that are active in Jerusalem and in Palestine. European, American, Canadian, Japanese, you name it. I basically asked them to ask their cabinets, to ask their governments to issue statements explicitly condemning the bombing of the church. I mean, yes, you say that Israel has the right to defend itself, but explain to us, how does bombing church, killing 20 people, 18 Christians and 2 Muslims, and it's important to mention that there were Muslims in the church and that Christian blood was mixed with Muslim blood during that massacre. So how can you say that bombing a church is an act of self-defense? How can this really be fostering and strengthening the security of the state of Israel? It's important to say that only one of the respondents came back to me and she said that she will ask her capital if they can make such a statement.
Sorry, did she get back to you?
No. Don't worry. I will get back to all 9 and make sure to give them a piece of my mind. And but the whole thing is simply misproportionate. I asked our ambassador, for example, in Russia, to contact the Patriarch of Moscow and for a condemnation. He came back to me earlier on today, and he said a letter of condolences has been issued by the Patriarch of Moscow to Patriarch Theophilus, and he sent me the text of the letter. There was no condemnation of the massacre. There was condolences for the loss of life, as if these people, were in a party and there was an accident and they lost their lives. Anyway, it's as if the whole notion is that we have made up our minds that Israel is the party that is the receiving end. Please don't confuse us with the facts. I promise you, and I promise myself, that we will continue to confuse them with the facts. We will continue to hammer them, bombard them with the facts, just like I've done the last days, because basically we are people that have a just case and we want to fight for justice and for peace and for human dignity for all. I sent all of those diplomats pictures of the bombing, pictures of those who were killed when they were celebrating Christmas. I happened to be in very close contact with them because 3 of my employees in Gaza were in that church. So, we communicated very well. I also sent them pictures of the funerals. What is really astonishing for me is that the media did not pick up on this whatsoever. Hind was referring to the fact, and also Rafi to a point, how the media is complicit. My family in the Galilee did not know that there was a church bombing because the Israeli media said nothing, absolutely nothing. And even the Arab media, the media that is supposed to be on our side, did not give it the value it usually gives. No secret. I had to call Walid Omari from Al Jazeera and tell him, Walid, there's a church bombing. Ask your team to go and report it. I called him twice. And then they went and put that there is a bombing in the church and that and there were some casualties. I called him. I told him, Walid, there are 17 people then. 17 Christians and Muslims are killed there, and there are tens under the rubble. So at least put in a number, So I called some others, asking them to ask Al Mayadeen to give this. And Al Jazeera and Al Mayadeen are supposed to be news agencies that report on these things. But to be honest, there was almost complete ignoring of this. RT mentioned it once or twice, but without pictures. At least I didn't see them. Maybe they did, but I didn't see them. But the Western media in general, there was zero mention of the massacre. Zero mention of the massacre. It's a fact that all GPS, global positioning system for positions for the coordinates for all Christian religious sites in Gaza, all the coordinates were given to the Israeli army. So there is zero chance in my mind that this is not a premeditated attack. And the question is, why is this a premeditated attack? I tell you, I have a feeling that what happened and is part of what has been happening in our region ever since the turn of the 20th century. The plan is to rid the region of its moderate core. Mainly, as it happens, the Christians with their education constitute, most of the Christians are in the middle class, most of them are highly educated, and we have historically played and still continue to play a major role as the moderate core of Palestinian and Arab societies. The educated, the entrepreneurs, the people who are essential if we are to build a sustainable economic development, a sustainable society, a society able to compete, able to stand on its own, and a society that is not a failed state. By the way, not only Christians are immigrating. My high school class was 50-50. We were 14 Muslims. There are only 3 Christians here and 1 Muslim. The rest have all immigrated. So this whole moderate core of Palestinian and Arab society in general, and this also happening in Jordan and other places, is the whole moderate core of Palestinian society is disintegrating. Why are they doing this? Because it makes it much easier for Israel and its supporters to label Palestinians as savages, as it was referred to earlier, in the words of the Israeli minister, human animals. So when you dehumanize your enemy, that means that they don't have any rights. That means that you can give them all the treatment you believe that you should give to savages, and meaning bombardment, no electricity, no water. I mean, he was proud. The Israeli minister was proud of saying, "I am committing war crimes by cutting off the water, electricity, and fuel to the civilians of Gaza." Having said this, I disagree with those who are giving up on the international human rights organizations. I believe if we do this, we're getting both Israel and those who support Israel, the different governments in the West, and also those human rights organizations who claim that they are there to protect international human rights off the hook. No. We should put them to task. You are responsible. You claim you are civilized societies as part of your constitutions, as part of your mandates is to protect human rights. You have put together in a framework of after World War II, the whole notion of the Geneva Conventions, the whole notions of what is permissible and what's not permissible under international law, the basic humanitarian law. We have to put them to task on this. We have to tell them you have to put your money where your mouth is, or else shut up and don't claim to be civilized human rights organizations. Simply put, what is happening and what happened in Gaza, particularly the bombing of the church, is a war crime. There has been a lot of media attention to the bombing of Al-Madani Hospital. I'm not belittling what happened there, but what kills me is that the church is a clear-cut Israeli action. Nobody mentioned it because they want us to forget it, maybe, because it's very easy to prove that it is a war crime. I believe we must work, we, the Christian community in general, our leadership, the civil society, we must all work together. We have a task to take the perpetrator of those massacres to the ICC, to the International Criminal Court. I know that there has been a movement to take the case of Shireen Abu Akleh to the ICC. I know that this is not something easy, but we have to do it and we have to keep on pushing it. It took them literally months to take Putin to the ICC and condemn him, and he's now wanted in the ICC without any regard to the other war crimes that are committed in Palestine, the ongoing war crimes that are committed in Palestine. Now, the fact that they admit to a crime, as was referred to by Hind earlier, and then they come and make a tweet or a press release or make another statement denying that claim, is precisely because they realize, or the lawyers, their legal advisors told them, listen, guy, if you go admit to such a thing, you will be liable to a war crime. And to be very honest, we should never lose the hope that those perpetrators of war crimes will one day face justice. At the end, my answer to those who tell me, but the missile was maybe it was a Palestinian missile that hit the Ma'madani hospital, maybe it wasn't an Israeli. I tell them, fine, I'm not a forensic expert. Why don't we immediately ask for an independent investigation? Who is afraid of an investigation? Only the guilty. We have nothing to hide. Let's investigate what Israel has been doing in the last 2 weeks. Let's ask the UN Human Rights Council to send a delegation to do an investigation like the one they did after 2008, and let them identify whether there is war crimes then or not. And if they say, yes, there are war crimes, then let them make it very clear. And then those who have committed war crimes, let go to the ICC. I believe the call from us as Christians we should always go for that. And I want to say something. We owe it to ourselves, we owe it to our children, we owe it to our church, never to lose hope and never to lose our sense for an urgency to push for humanity, for respect to human life. After all, we're Christians. We should always remember what the teachings of our Savior Jesus Christ in that regard. And we have to never lose hope. We have to continue giving people encouragements. Yes, I know it's difficult, Rafi, and I see how difficult, especially for people like you, young, who would like to live in a normal life in this abnormal and immoral world that we live in. But we should never ever lose hope. We should never ever. We are, as we say in Arabic, we are the salt of this land, and we have to be here. The salt. When you eat, you put only small quantities of salt in the food to make it tasty. So we don't need to be many. We don't need to be the majority, but we definitely can make a difference. We have a responsibility, as I said, not only to ourselves and to our children and to our church, but also for the whole world, of speaking out and making a difference.
Thank you very much, Bassim Sobhi Khoury, for this quite sober intervention, which included some observations about the international political system and international community, and especially when personal relations, such as in your case, all of a sudden does not echo enough with the, it seems, European or Western diplomatic missions in occupied East Jerusalem. It would be very interesting to see how they are going to reply to your query, which was very specific rather than a broad one. Many people ask, many people think that most of the Western world is actually Christian. forgetting that Christianity in the West is a totally different issue, and it's certainly different from Eastern Christianity, and putting them under pressure would show really how committed they are or aren't for the land of Jesus, or Palestine, or Eastern and Palestinian Christianity. Thank you for that. May I kindly now just ask, please, every one of you to provide a couple of minutes of reflection. And if I may kindly ask His Beatitude, Patriarch Michel Sabbah, who in fact thus far is the only Palestinian to hold the highest position in the Christian world, being Arab Palestinian. Could I kindly, brother, His Beatitude, Michel Sabbah, ask you for your reflection, having heard a wide variety of opinions from your Christian sisters and brothers in Palestine, please.
Thank you. Thank you. I was very interested in hearing what I heard. My introduction perhaps was a bit abstract, a bit theoretical even, so I feel. What impressed me, the word of Rafi, that we are the last, that we are afraid to be the last generation. I think this is true. This is dramatically true. And the leaders, spiritual leaders, I think they have not discerned. They look to the Christians in the Holy Land as a Christian presence in general. Today there is a Jewish presence, a Christian presence. There is an international pilgrim presence. There is a big religious presence of religious men and women, etc. So we, the small flock, we are seen, yes, they see us, they are interested to us, but not at the existential level. They don't see the danger, but the danger is there. Israel is interested to have Christians, but non-Palestinians. Therefore, pilgrims are most welcome. The leaders of the churches are most welcome. All kinds of religions from all the world are welcome. But the problem for Israel, despite all its, what I say, sayings that they want to protect Christians, I think it is not the truth. Therefore, I think we have to save ourselves. Okay, we have to make the world our friend. We have not to make the world against us. We have not to make the churches against us, neither the international community. We have to act positively. We exist, we want to exist. With Israel, despite Israel, we want to exist. It is first up to us to address our faith, to believe in ourselves. Jesus told us, if you have faith as small as a grain of you can move mountains. Jesus said also, if you believe in me, you can do all what I have done, I, Jesus, and more. We have a spiritual power, which is not only spiritual, which is also social, political, economic. So I think it's up to us to save ourselves, to reflect, have this session reflection, in order to see how we can work with God first, believing in God, believing in our spiritual power of faith and love. This is our power, not war, but our power of being a human beings and believing in Jesus Christ, who tells us you can transfer the mountains. It's up to us, to all Christians, to anyone, to the lay people, to the church people, pastors, bishops, priests, etc. So there is a big work to do, big task before us Christians to do. The others, they are not interested in us. Israel is not interested in us. They speak words, okay, but they're not interested. The other churches, okay, they manifested their love for us, generations after generations. It's okay. We accept. We try to transform this love in real action, in an understanding of what we are and what is our existential need now. Because it is an existential need. It is to be or not to be. This is what he said. We are afraid. We are the last generation. So I think, okay, we can lament of all the people of all the world, but we cannot stay on that. We have the apostles were sent by Jesus to preach all the world, to give the word. We have to preach in these times that we exist. We are the continuation of Jesus. But anyway, we have to persuade people, the churches and the rulers of the world, that we are human beings. We have a right to exist, only to exist, and we have all kinds of rights. Political, we have the right to have our state. We have the right to be in Jerusalem without any borders, without any checkpoints. This is, I think, a task we have to do. We have to organize ourselves, our intellectuals, our leaders, those who think the main goal is criticizing, okay, saying they are wrong, they want to kill us, it's okay. But our aim is we want to live. We want to exist. So it is up to us to start ourselves. No hope from the others. From Israel, no hope. The big powers, no hope. The big powers see what Israel sees. Anyway, despite this situation, we have to do our best. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Beatitude, for this philosophical yet very realistic reflection, which we have been delighted to have received. May I kindly move now to Father Fadi to provide us as well with his reflection, having heard all co-panelists, please.
Thank you. I think these are live experiences from on the ground. These are stories that represent the Palestinian experience under settler colonialism. And it is very, very important to take the or to hear the voices of the victim. We have for a long time, mainly in the West, listened to the powerful and influential who can influence the media and promote propagandas for a long time. But unless we listen to the voices of those on the ground who've been affected by the injustice of the occupation, we cannot understand the whole picture. I think it is also important to understand that in our world today, it seems that the strong party is the one that the world listens to, whereas we relegate the weak and the powerless and do not listen their testimonies or their experiences. So I think it is very important to know that the testimonies on the ground are very important. These voices are authentic. They tell life stories. But it's also important, as I reflect on these testimonies, is that when the world around us listens to the media, they need to think critically. They need to ask questions. They need to question any policies or politics that is being disseminated in the world. And this is very important for our brothers and sisters in the West, because the media is playing a huge role, and especially the social media is playing a huge impact in this and converting realities into propagandas. And my advice to many others in the West, those who will listen to this, is please question assumptions. Please ask questions, follow, learn, listen to those on the ground. Do not take things for granted. Do not take the media in the West for granted. And that is very important. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Father Fadi Diab. Could I kindly now move to Madame Hania, if you could kindly unmute yourself, to give us some reflections with regards to what you have heard from your co-panelists, please.
Yes, thank you. As a Palestinian Christian, I believe that we belong to this land, and Jesus was born here and he sacrificed himself here. So we will carry his cross on our shoulder, and we will till we get our equal rights and get our dignity and to end the occupation. And as we said before, that we as a Palestinian Christian and Muslims, we are living together and we believe that it is very important, and it is a time for the whole world to listen to us and to believe that there is people living in this land are suffering, and we have to end this occupation in Palestine. Thank you.
Thank you, Hania. Could I kindly now actually move to Rafi to as well share with us some reflections about what you heard, perhaps a sort of comparison, or if you've got any additional comments, please.
Yeah, for me, is the most important thing now is to share our Christian Palestinian narrative to all the world, to share the truth to all the world by the social media, by the news, to speak as a Christian Palestinian, and to let the world hear from us, hear the truth, hear the other side of the story from us, and especially on the Christian agencies. Because unfortunately, now the Christian agencies, and for example, the Catholic Christian Agency, which is for the Vatican, it's like it works with the collaboration with the Vatican News. It's not Vatican News, but the Christian Catholic or the Catholic Agency News, that's their name. Now it's talking about Hamas and about Gaza as a terrorist. And they are putting that they are like when they refer to Hamas, they say terrorist organization and terrorist attack and etc. So they are speaking in the same story on the same side of Israel. And about the bombing, they did not say anything about the bombing. About the bombing of the church. They had one post on Instagram yesterday about that there is a small like there's one church in Gaza, and there's some people who are living there, and the news we're talking about the priests and the nuns that they are serving the people of Gaza, although the people of Gaza are standing with Hamas. So they are speaking to the world as they are serving terrorist people. So that's our news. That's the Christian news. I'm not talking about CNN. I'm not talking about Fox. Not talking about BBC. I'm talking about the Christian, the Catholic news agencies. So for us as Christians and as Palestinian Christians, I think the most important thing now that we share the truth, at least for now, for the Christians news, for the Christian agencies. So the Christians who are from all over the world, the pilgrims who will come after this war to visit the land, to pray, to come here and to see, they know the truth from now. That's what I see is the most necessary thing to do right now. And thank you all.
Thank you, Rafi. Could I kindly move now to Mr. Hani Bullata, who, for those who have joined or haven't seen the first part, he is the head of the Jerusalemite Orthodox Club, or the Orthodox Club of Jerusalem, to share with us as well his reflections thus far, please.
Thank you. I think the main thing out of this session practically is the double standards that we're seeing out of the governments without any word from the Christian leadership. When you talk about Ukraine, just change Ukraine to Palestine and you will have the narrative that you need to talk about. Otherwise, it's a double standard. I just want to say a few clear messages. I want to say to his Beatitude and to Rafi, no, we are not the last generation, sorry. I'm teaching my kids, even if you are the last one in Jerusalem, you will continue to be the Christian in Jerusalem. That's it.
Thank you, Hani.
And we have to defend.
Pardon? Oh, okay. Right. Could I please ask Hind as well, after she has already given us some very powerful messages, could you please try to think, mix, reflect on what you have heard, or if you've got some new ideas, please?
Of course. Well, as a Christian, we are the salt of this land. I believe so. You can't imagine Palestine where Jesus was born in and crucified without indigenous Christians, and we are the indigenous Christians there. We invite everyone to support the steadfastness of our cause, of our people. We invite them to mourn with us each and every soul who were killed. And I pray for all the hostages. And let me highlight here the 5,500 Palestinians in Israeli jails, and including 1,500 Palestinian men, women, children are put in administrative detention, which is no trial, no charges. They are being imprisoned for a secret file that we don't know. So I would like, and 5 of them are Christians, and let me name them: Khalid Halabi, Nail Halabi, Marwan Maaddi, Ibrahim Mas'ad, Samir Arbid. إن شاء الله ما أكون نسيت حدا. Well, our message here is to end the occupation, to end this apartheid on us, demand immediate ceasefire, open a corridor for medical relief, for food, for water, and for me to hold the occupation accountable for all the war crimes it did, and it is for the ongoing war crimes it is committing until the moment. Thank you.
Thank you, Hind. And may I kindly ask Bassim Khoury to provide us, please, with first with your reflections, whatever as you see fit, but also perhaps with a roundup or a wrap up for what you have heard. You being an experienced person and who, in fact, move from different spheres: the business, the political, the social, the diplomatic, please. So if you could kindly, Dr. Bassim Khoury, please.
I would like to first address a point that was mentioned, which is we being the last Palestinian Christian generation. No, we will not be the last Palestinian Christian generation. I have to, if I believe in this, then I lose my faith. If this is what God wanted, to send his son to the earth to show people the way to redemption, to show people the way out of to be our savior, then for sure he didn't want us to be the last generation. There will not be a last generation. We as Christians should always believe that no, out of darkness there should be light. And I know that this is difficult to say, especially for young people, but I have lived, as you said, through different hardships. I've lived through different wars. I lived through 2 intifadas. I lived through the Gulf War, 2 Gulf Wars. I lived through some very, very difficult times, different wars on Gaza. Yes, this time is different for a simple fact. This was the first time that Israel really gets a slap on the face. And all their actions, the gagging of people so as they will not open their mouths, there's real fear inside Israel. And if you compare this time with the times before, when, during the Sheikh Jarrah demonstrations, for example, when there were daily demonstrations all over Israel, in Jerusalem and elsewhere, where Palestinians inside Israel took to the streets, because the whole atmosphere was different, because it was there was no gagging of people. There was no orders that you're not allowed to speak out. There are no, I mean, a nurse working with my son-in-law in a hospital in Haifa was imprisoned. She was trapped. They asked her, what is your opinion on what is happening? And she basically said there should be a political solution to this. And this war is going to end nowhere. And she lost her job and she was imprisoned. Dalal Abu Amni, the famous Palestinian singer, my cousin, Dr. Hakim from Nazareth, for putting a simple post. He was a former head of the Orthodox community in Nazareth. So yes, they are gagging people. They are making them really scared. They're not allowed to open their mouths. But I want to say something which was referred to a little earlier. Yes, maybe we're losing the international media, but we are not losing the war on the social media. There was a study done by a poll done in the UK. Who do you support in this? What do you think who is the right, who's the wrong? And a majority of UK youth, maybe Dr. Khoury, you can tell us more about this. The majority, what was reported on Israel radio. I was listening to Makan, the Israeli radio, the other day, and they were astonished about the results of the poll that says that the majority of the youth, particularly the Labour Party youth, are anti-Israel sentiments. In general, yes, the first 4 or 5 days were horrible. All sorts of lies, all sorts of propaganda was being used against Palestinians. But now things are be different. I don't know if you saw Bassim Youssef's amazing interview. I recommend all of you to see it, and I recommend all of you to see how after finishing the interview, he came and proved that the interviewer was lying by saying that he said that he never said that there were 40 decapitated babies. So no, actually, there is hope. There is light at the end of the tunnel. Today, semi-ceasefire was happening. They were allowing some trucks to come in. Yes, it's a trickle in aid, but that tells us that we should lose hope. Every day I'm speaking to my staff in the 2 churches in Gaza. I was one of them. His brother was trapped. His brother, wife, and 2 sons were trapped under the rubble. I was talking to him when his brother called him and told him, please come and help dig me out. So his brother from under the rubble called him. So he ran to help his brother. They're a Catholic family, but they decided to stay in the 2 churches. The brother and 2 children are in the Orthodox Church, and the other brother, our staff member, he's the assistant manager of our office in Gaza, he decided to go to the Catholic Church. And he said, we decided to do this because if one of the churches is hit, at least the whole population registry will not be without the name, our family name. I was talking to him today, and he was really relaxed, and he said, yes, it's an atrocity. Yes, we lost a lot, but we're here to stay. We're here to continue. Maybe now that people have not really understood or absorbed the tragedy 100%, but we should always keep hope. Yes, it's a very, very difficult time. And yes, as his Beatitude said, there is definitely a lack of leadership, whether it is on the political level or on the spiritual level. Yes, we are stuck in a difficult situation. we as Christians are stuck between extremes. You know, we have an extremely extremist parties that are basically dictating our fate, and we should always maintain our sober, to be not to lose our calm, and we should think of better days to come. I don't know who or when, but there will be an adult in the room that will come and say enough is enough. Whether this will come through the UN Security Council, whether this will come through international pressures, but I believe that better days are coming our way. And if you look at the demonstrations in Jordan, if you look at the demonstrations in all countries in the world, London, in Paris, etc., you know, they were at the beginning of the war. They were saying anybody who would raise a Palestinian flag will be imprisoned, or at least that was what was reported in France. And then you see hundreds of thousands, or tens of thousands of people all over France going, waving the Palestinian flag and demonstrating against Israel. I, for example, speaking about France, through our ambassador there, we were in contact with some of the French spiritual leaders. At the beginning, they were not willing to engage properly, not even, but now you're seeing that they're willing to engage and they're willing to act. We have a variety, a long list of Christian institutions in Palestine. I don't know the number, maybe Hani you would know, but I think we are more than 300 Christian institutions, clubs, hospitals, schools, etc. We should urge those 300 Christian institutions to each send messages to their donors, to their supporters, to their counterparts all over the world, with a very simple message: stop the war, stop the genocide. We are not human animals. It's I think a very powerful message, and we have the responsibility to say it. No, Rafi, we will not be, and we refuse to be the last Christian generation in Palestine. And I still believe, with all the difficult situation that we pass through, that better days are ahead of us. I say this in spite of the fact that I don't like to say this out loud, but now maybe it's important to mention it. I know 3 of those who were killed on a personal level. We've had some messages, and the last message I received from them was Wednesday night. So in spite of the fact that these people are gone, and in spite of the fact that it really hurts, it really hurts, especially when you know the people, we have to always continue looking at the part of the cup that is half full, although, or even 1/10 full, or even 1% full. We have to never lose hope, and we owe it, as I said, to ourselves, to our children, and to the future generations. And we owe it to our faith, Christians, never to lose hope.
Many thanks indeed, and allow me to address you as Your Excellency, Dr. Bassim Khoury, despite the fact you resigned.
This was in my previous life. Makram.
But you earned it, even if for a short period of time. Bassim Khoury, thank you very much for this moving message. Just 2 comments, please, before we leave. First of all, as far as I can remember, and we do have recording, we can go back to it. And in Rafi's defense, he did not say that we will be the last Palestinian Christian generation. I think he said, I fear that we might be. I think that this is what I heard.
No, Makram, again, I understand Rafi's frustration. And I many times, I have to admit, many people around me have very, very bad feelings about what the future is ahead. When you see those people being killed, and when you see the silence of the international humanitarian communities, and when you see, yes, you get these feelings. It's not, I appreciate Rafi for raising this issue, because it gave me a chance to tell, not necessarily to Rafi, but to tell the whole world, no, we refuse to die. We refuse to die. And we have the right to live. We are human beings. We're not human animals, as they want us to say. And we will prove to them that they are the human animals when we take them to international courts. And this is the major challenge ahead of us. Will we be able to do it?
Right. Did I see Rafi's finger? Did you want to say something, Rafi?
Thank you again. And again, I want to be clear. We refuse, of course, we refuse to be the last Christian generation. I was say that I am afraid that we are the last Christian generation. We always say, as in the youth movement here in our Palestine, that we are, as Jesus Christ carried the cross and walked through the old city of Jerusalem till the Golgotha, and he did not run away. He did not surrender. He wasn't afraid. So that we are doing now. We are carrying our cross, the cross of occupation, the cross of apartheid, the cross of Israel. We're carrying it now, and we're working through the Via Dolorosa, through the way of the cross, because we believe that after the cross, after the crucifixion, there will be the resurrection. And we believe that our resurrection, our earthly resurrection, will be when we got our freedom. So that's our way, and that's what we are doing now. We refuse to be the last Christian generation, absolutely. But if the word and if all the situation stays like that, it may let us be that fact as the last Christian generation. So we don't want to be, and we will stay always as our his Beatitude say, we will keep remaining, and we will keep having our voice and talking about the truth.
Thank you, Rafi. Anyone else, please, would like to say the last few words? Hind, I can see your facial muscles moving. Would you like to say something?
Oh, me?
Hind.
Well, of this last generation, the last generation of despair. But as you all said, we are not the last. We will be other generations, and we have to exist to give existence to others, and we have to live with hope. Christians, we have to live with hope. The impression to be the last generation is the fact that almost all the reality is against us, almost, not all. There are many friends also, to the Palestinian as such, and to the Christians as such as well. So we keep hoping, we will live until the 100th generation stay. But we have, that's it. We have a big task to do, every Christian. That's it.
Thank you. Back to Hind. Hind, did you want to say something?
No, as Christians, our resistance is in our presence. So we should remain here in Palestine. We are the indigenous people here. We are the indigenous Christians. So we will stay. And of course, we have hope. بدون الرجاء ولا إشي.
Well, thank you very much, dear panelists. All of you, 7 of you, have provided us with superb interventions, truly genuine and authentic. You have created an astonishing document, a historical document, anthropological, sociological, which will, I'm sure, shed light on many issues that the world haven't heard. I believe that even without editing it, nor even using it in our academic research, it already is a fascinating account, which we shall be immediately sharing with you, sharing the link, I mean. As usual, we feel that this is, especially at this time, we as the Cambridge Center for Palestine Studies, we feel that this is our professional duty and moral obligation to provide all audiences with whatever unique material we could provide them with. And this is why we always say that we combine theory and practice, and morally, we always ring the bell. Thank you very much, and we look forward to having you in a much, much better situation. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
العافية.